In Algebra 1, we study three functions. So most of the fall we spend on linear. A linear function, here's the parent function, y equals x. So it's going to have an x or a y or both. It graphs as a straight line. It has the same difference. That means that you're adding or subtracting the same amount every time, which results in a constant rate of change, which is what makes your straight line. We call that constant rate of change a slope. Then we've spent most of the spring on quadratic functions. Quadratic functions don't have the same difference. They don't have this constant rate of change. But the second difference is the same. We've looked at that on tables before, where the first difference is going to be different, but then if you check those differences, the second difference is the same. It has a turnaround point. It's this one that's upside down is going up, then turns around to go back down. There is an axis of symmetry, an invisible line that cuts it into two symmetrical pieces. In Algebra 1, you either have an upside down parabola, this is called a parabola, or a right side up one. Here's your parent function, y equals x squared. Two very important features of this is the x-intercepts, where it crosses the x-axis. These are also called roots, solutions, zeros. And then, of course, this right here, your turnaround point, is called the vertex. But now we're learning a new function. We're learning exponentials. Exponentials don't have the same difference, but they are multiplying or dividing instead of adding or subtracting. So they have the same factor. They multiply or divide by the same number. Really, you could just say multiplying because dividing is the same as multiplying by a fraction. So this is what your graph's going to look like. It's going to start off very slowly, increasing a little bit at a time, and then shoot up really fast, as you noticed with the Will You Work For Me activity last week. If you made a penny a day and doubled it every day, it increases very slowly, but at some point it starts shooting up and multiplying very, very quickly. This is called exponential decay. This was growth. Decay starts off coming down very, very quickly when you're dividing by the same number, but then it slows down. Now, neither one of these graphs are ever going to cross this x-axis, this zero. It's never going to get to zero. It's going to get closer, 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 but never actually hit zero. Just like the March Madness activity that you did. You never got down to 0 basketball teams. You got down to 1, but you stopped there. And when you were folding the paper, you could never quit folding. You would keep folding and it would keep making more rectangles. This line right here that it never crosses, it's in Algebra 1, usually the x-axis, but it's not always. But it's called an asymptote. It's like your axis of symmetry on your quadratics, but it's an invisible line that this graph never touches, never crosses. So that's just a quick introduction to the differences between these two functions.